So today I have the pleasure of talking to James. James, would you like to introduce your business and what you guys do?
Often the most hardest question I get asked is that. My name's James Fletcher. We're in almost a niche within a niche. Dynamic water solutions support food, beverage, healthcare, and pharmaceutical clients to maintain a very tight water spec. So we process and treat water in most cases for things like dialysis water or endoscopy washers that are washing instruments that have just come out of surgery, or in the food and beverage side, we're removing impurities so they can do something with that water. But also, as well as water, we do it on wine, vinegar, and other processed fluids as well. So it's quite an intricate thing to explain to anybody who, yeah, it's a nightmare to explain when we get family and friends ask what we do.
Yeah, it sounds so interesting.
Yeah, it's a labour of love. It is. The hours are sometimes a little bit long, but it is a job that most people enjoy doing. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, no, of course. And how long's the business been around for?
We've been operating for 5 years in various sizes. So the first 2 years was more myself on my own, and then after that first 2 years, I think we got a little bit too big for that one-man band sort of setup. And then we had a fork in the road where I could obviously cut my losses and go and work for somebody or choose to grow it. And we chose to grow the business, and we're at 5 strong at the minute. And then yeah, very, very good.
Amazing. What a great success story. And who would you say throughout that, who would you say is your best customer, or is it more of a everybody contributes?
We've got some larger, we've got a few where can I say it? I'd say blue chip customers really in Herefordshire. If there's cider being brewed somewhere in Herefordshire, we're usually there. So Heineken in Hereford is our predominant client there. We look after ultra pure water at Epsom Inc. in Telford as well. So there are 2 sort of larger based clients that are more well-known brand names anyway.
No, perfect. Okay, and then question 4 is, were there any business changes that you had considered, but COVID-19 made them a necessity?
Yes, so could probably talk for another hour on this really. But yeah, we were as hard as it was for quite a lot of businesses during COVID-19. We were one of the rare and very lucky businesses that had an explosion really. Most of our customers were operating production lines, so bottling and canning. And as we know with supermarkets, that went through the roof. So we know it's quite a huge step up in terms of labour as well. So we had to hire a couple of people to take that on. We also, because we were involving more people in the business, realised we were operating out of about 25 spreadsheets. So we bought into a system and implemented a whole cloud-based system because of that as well, and hired an admin member of staff, which was about 2 years too late. I should have done that years ago.
Totally can relate. Fabulous. And out of those actions you took because of the pandemic, are there some that have remained a key part of your business? For example, I guess you've answered with the administrator in the kind of that process. Is there anything else?
All of them. Absolutely all of them. And in all fairness, it does make you wonder. You can't really know for sure, but would we have had those growth changes and stuff if there wasn't the stress there? Maybe, but we might have been a couple of years behind still at this point if we hadn't had to grow up a little bit as a business.
Perfect, thank you. And exactly on that wavelength, what would you say your biggest learning has been since you've been a business owner?
No, another one. Delegation. So again, hiring those people and having those systems that I want to do everything. I operate the business with my wife. We try and do everything and that's not always a good thing. So there's now a system that does a lot of it automatically, and we lean on our staff a little bit more, trusting them. They're going to make mistakes, but yeah, taking our hands off the wheel a little bit would probably be be like something that we've carried on implementing, and it's really shown that it's the best way to be as well. You can be paralyzed doing everything yourself constantly all the time and never actually have time for yourself outside of work then either.
Yeah, time is such a precious thing. Fab.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, so this might be another one of those questions. What is the best advice you would give an 18-year-old version of yourself?
Oh, God. 30-year-old would be probably probably from if this is from a business standpoint, enjoy the journey, I'd say, because those first 2 years, definitely the first year, they were really good because I had next to no dependable assets or nobody working for us. It was very simple. So enjoy the start if you're thinking about setting up yourself, and like if it's going to gather legs and that will gather complexity as well. So it's important to enjoy the start and think of how lucky you are, because things don't stay simple for long.
Do you think you
I mean that in a good way as well. I mean that in a good way, not a bad way. Yeah.
Of course. Do you think you would have listened to that advice?
Probably not, if I'm honest. Yeah. It's hard, it is, isn't it?
Always is. And then the last question for today is, what is the most inspiring thing to you today?
Ooh, I'm very lucky to have worked with, I still work with a few of them as well. Previous people I've worked with have been a resource of information for me regarding business and the industry we're in as well. So yeah, I'm very thankful to still have all of my business mentors and some personal friends there are as well. So I'm thankful to have a network that's really, really positive and wants to help, and not be in it on my own, as well as my own staff as well. My own staff are, because we're such a small business, it is like a little family. So my wife is my wife, but she's also the how can I put it? I'm a very impulsive decision maker, and she's the other half of that equation that sort of balances things out a little bit. So yeah, thankful to people around me. Yeah, perfect.
Amazing, thank you. Well, James, that wraps up the interview. Great job.